What's up, everybody? Welcome to PixelPlay Sidequests, your extra bonus content here on YouTube every Friday, at least when we actually do them. My name is CS Radical, joined by me as always, Kaylan, and Jin and Chris. We didn't want to have this conversation, to be completely honest. I mean, we talked about
You get a nickname and I don't.
because you don't ask for one. No, you don't get one. Also, you don't have a Twitter account that has one, so you're PixelPlaycast on there. That's your problem. But alas, as I said, we didn't want to make this episode because we own the console. We want to be happy to know what's going on with Xbox, but it's not looking well. I don't know if it's looking great or not. I guess because we don't really know what the hell's about to happen. But there's been rumors circulating that all of these different games like Gears of War, Starfield, potentially the Indiana Jones game, like they're all going to be potentially on PS5 now, and with all these rumors circulating, we were trying to figure out, well, what does this mean? Are they getting out of the console game, or are they just changing their strategy? And there was kind of no response to it. We talked about it a while ago on the podcast on what we thought, should be done. But now Phil Spencer's finally said and stay tuned. Next week, we're going to tell you guys what's going on. And that's really it. I mean, there's again, the rumor mill circulating. We're trying to figure what that means. But guys, what do you actually think's going to be said here?
I'm actually very curious what both of you also think, because I feel like everybody has their own conspiracy. Like, it's just like they have the whole grandiose, just all of Microsoft's plans, like in the, going forward, and they've figured it out. So I'm very curious what you guys have. Kaylan, what do you have? What do you think this means?
I think Phil Spencer plans a call to announce, hey, these are all fake rumors. Don't believe them. Like, they're not going to do it. It's so easy to just come out and be like, nah, we don't, like, these rumors are not true, blah, blah, blah. So there's some sort of fire. What is it? I don't know. I don't think this is the end of Xbox. I think it goes one of two routes. I think either one, we're going to get some games that come to PlayStation. I don't think it's going to be day and date games. I think that would just completely sabotage the console. And I don't think it's at a spot yet where they're willing to abandon console gaming. I think Game Pass is not quite there yet. I think what it could be is it might be one, either, hey, we're putting out some of our games that are 1 year old. We're going to put out Hi-Fi Rush. We're going to put out Redfall. I don't think we're going to get Starfield yet. I don't think we're going to get Indiana Jones day and date. Like, I don't see that being the case. So either one, hey, some of our older games that we've come on, we're going to put it there, or we're making like a collection game of just some of the greatest hits of Xbox, whatever. I don't see doing a day and date release. The other route, we've talked about it, that they were talking about making a new SKU for the Xbox Series X. Maybe this is where they come out and do it. They do more of a streaming box. I think that's a route that they go as well. I don't see Sony giving them the keys to the kingdom and saying, hey, yeah, start dropping your games down on our console. I don't see them doing that, because that's like, the Game Pass is still pretty appealing to PlayStation, or like it's still the best thing that Xbox offers. And I don't see PlayStation letting them put that on there. Maybe it's going to Nintendo. Maybe Game Pass comes to Nintendo. That's something I can see. But I don't see this being the end of the Xbox console yet. Until they can start, like, I think their end goal is to get streaming and just become the Netflix of gaming. And I don't think that we're there yet. Adam, what about you?
Yeah, like, my current sense, and it's not even really from reading any of the articles that we've seen so far. It's not to do with any information that's kind of been either leaked out or rumored to be, or whatever has been reported at this point. Because again, too, like, games journalism is this weird thing where, like, it's so hard to kind of ascertain, like, what's actually legit or not. In the same way, because I'm a big wrestling fan, it's hard to tell, like,
that's just
with
wrestling
journalism, what's actually, just being reported on an actual real basis, or if it's just like stuff that's being worked in the background. Because so much of this can just be PR speak, right? The honest sense that I get is that Phil Spencer is going to go up there and he's just going to spin it that, oh, we're just looking to make our products more available to other customers so that, we can get Xbox experiences out there to more people so that we can get them interested in what we have to offer on our platform, which is code for, yeah, we didn't make as much money off of Starfield or Hi-Fi Rush or all these other games as we thought we would. So Microsoft, the company, is getting a little bit annoyed on the return of investment for all these major buys we've been making recently. So we need to make some of that money back. So we're gonna throw some games on PlayStation to try to get some cash back in the old war chest here. I don't know if this actually leads to anything beyond that. I think honestly, like based on the little bit that I've seen, and again, in the sense of just how I figure business works with the amount of money that's been thrown around is we know that they haven't done nearly that well in terms of console sales. They have not caught up to PlayStation. They need to do something to get some money back because I'm sure that as any major multi-billion-dollar corporation wants to do, they don't like not making as much money as they projected. So I'm sure somebody at the top has probably grabbed Phil Spencer by the collar and said, "Go make us some fucking money, you prick." Because you've spent so much, we spent all this time in courts for this stupid purchase for this company that apparently we're not even going to put on Game Pass, which is another rumor that Call of Duty's not even going to go to Game Pass, which is a stupid decision if that's the case. So it's like somebody probably at the top is going, "This is ridiculous. Like we're not making enough money back on this. Do something." And they're grasping at straws, not knowing what else to do because every IP that they keep coming up with isn't doing blockbuster sales, it seems, for them. So they're throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I guess they've finally come to the point that they go, all right, well, let's give PlayStation some stuff. I'm sure their massive customer market will eat up some of this stuff. And for some games, they will. Like, I imagine Starfield would do well. I imagine Hi-Fi Rush would do pretty well for a small select few. I don't know if this really solves their problem, though. I think, again, this is them dipping their toe in the water before eventually they realize that they need to make a much more bigger change, which is something that we'll see, I think, in the next couple of years. I don't think we're going to get, like, a bombshell announcement soon. I think it's more just, again, the toes getting dipped.
I want to jump on something that you kind of mentioned, and just indulge me for a second, Chris. I'm curious to hear what you say as well, but the thing that I don't think that this is gonna be a thing where they're like, hey, everything's coming to PlayStation, because Xbox went through the ringer for 18 months to 2 years to acquire Activision, to make a case of why they're not gobbling up, the industry. Like for them to do all of that just to say, never mind, we're gonna put it on on PlayStation 2, like they would have closed their case so much faster if they just said, hey, our intention is to put this on PlayStation as well. Nothing's changing in the industry. That because they didn't do that, this is not something that they're going to do immediately. Second of all, they just acquired Activision, right? Their strategy is just starting. They've just gotten everything that they wanted. They need to give it some time. So I think that there is going to be something that's coming to PlayStation, whether that is Game Pass, whether it is older games, but I don't think that this is the end of Xbox exclusivity, right? They fought tooth and nail to get what they have to put their fence around their garden, and I don't see them opening it up just because the last few games haven't been hitting yet. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
Chris?
again, the sense
sorry.
of what I've read is that there is some pretty big unrest at the top in terms of their return on investment. So I think it may just be like, it might not be a logical decision that's being made. It might be a bunch of people at the top that are shareholders that just want more money in their fucking pocket, right? Like we're all trying to sit here and say, well, this doesn't make any sense. This might be a decision that's not supposed to make sense to us. It's more, it might just be again a grasp at make us fucking money, let's go. It could just be that. My hope is that they're going to announce, Hi-Fi Rush and some other like not nearly as impactful games are coming to other consoles, maybe even something like a Game Pass on Nintendo, because that's really a non-factor, for them. Like that's a whole other market that's really not being conflicted with. But again, like just the sense of everything that's kind of been coming in, just because of the sheer existential worry that I have of how this is starting to feel like it's going. It does make me worry that it's going the route that I don't want to see, which is obviously Xbox slowly kind of diving into removing themselves from the console market altogether. But I don't think we're going to hear anything related to that specifically.
Yeah, yeah, you guys are like right in line with me. So we're all kind of aligned with this, which makes, I mean, that's just on brand with me being on the fence with you guys. If you both agree, I obviously am going to be in the same agreement, right?
I mean, really, what were you going to say? Like, oh, Xbox is going to come out with 3 consoles and
Phil Spencer's retiring. This is his announcement. It's happening. His t-shirt's just going to say I'm retiring. No. Yeah, no, for me, I think that this is probably like a lot of us are like looking into this too much. Like some rumors came out like they usually do, and the rumors were just like, hey, a couple games might end up on PlayStation. And then everybody ran with it from there, right? We're like, this is what's happening, this is happening. People panicked. Xbox fans versus Sony fans just started going at each other. You know what I mean? Cats and dogs living together, absolute mayhem. Um, I really think that it is just where they're going to start putting the odd game on PlayStation. And I don't think it's going to be those very Xboxy Xbox games like the Halos and the Gears of War, Forza, that kind of stuff. I think because it seems like the rumor mill, like Hi-Fi Rush, Starfield, and
Sea of Thieves.
Indiana Jones, they're and Sea of Thieves, they're like Rare and Bethesda, right?
They're
They're
also the
like
kind of games that you would expect to be multi-platform anyway.
yeah, like Doom and Doom Eternal. I think Doom Eternal was also on PlayStation, right? Like
Yep.
they already had that, same as like the Wolfenstein games.
Mhm.
Like everybody already plays Skyrim and other Bethesda games on other consoles. It's not shocking that they would be on another console. Yeah, maybe Starfield because it's so new and it was really going to be like their system seller. It didn't work. They're like, all right, you know what? After a bit, let's put it on Xbox. PlayStation did the same thing just with PC not too long ago, right? Like it was only a
Mhm.
couple years ago they were like, "Hey, some of our exclusives, we're going to put them on PC." And I do remember there being some news outlets that were like, "Sony's suffering, you know, they're like grasping at straws, blah blah." It's like, no, it's another market, and
Yeah, it's
if
not
you
really in
haven't
direct competition to them either.
yeah, true. And here, yes, this is a direct competitor. But again, if you haven't bought Hi-Fi Rush now or bought an Xbox to get Hi-Fi Rush specifically, you would have by now, right? Like if it's going to be over a year and then they're like, okay, put that on PlayStation, that makes sense, right? That's what Sony does with PC. That's what Microsoft does with like the Switch and stuff. Ori and the Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps and Minecraft and other kind of stuff. That's already on the Switch. They were already doing this. They just weren't doing with their direct competitor because they knew no one was going to stop buying an Xbox because it's like, oh, I don't need an Xbox now. I can get it on Switch. It was just the few games that made sense. I really think that this is just Microsoft, yes, having the higher ups. Like we just spent 69, what was it, $1 billion or whatever.
Like that, yeah.
Like, hey, we just did this and we need to make some money back. The lawyers' fees, everything like this was more expensive than we are expecting. It took longer than expected, and you have to pay people to make that happen too, right? So I think they're just like, hey, Starfield was supposed to like make some of that money back so we could cover this. It didn't. We need just a small plan right now to make up with some money. Let's take some of the games that aren't maybe besides Starfield, but the other ones, you know, not so much system sellers or whatever, and let's make them timed exclusives. After a year on Xbox, we can release them on a couple other consoles. We won't touch any of the real Xbox things like Halo won't be anywhere else, that kind of stuff, besides PC because it's already there. And you know, that'll be what we do.
There's also
Kaylan,
our.
oh, sorry.
No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead. I was
I
just
was
gonna
gonna
say,
say,
Kaylan,
good.
no, you
Go.
go. You go.
You
No,
goddamn
you go.
Canadians, get on with it. Kaylan, you
No.
go. I got this. Go.
All right. So the one thing that like we're thinking is too much of like a game on PlayStation signals a defeat for Xbox. And I don't think that's the case because they're working on two different avenues. PlayStation is still very much of the big AAA exclusive. You buy the disc, you play it. I don't know any Xbox owner who has bought an Xbox game. I have an Xbox. I've not bought a single game. Right. The obvious way of procuring games through Xbox is Game Pass. It makes sense. There's no reason to buy games. That being said, there's no reason why they couldn't go to PlayStation and be like, hey, Hi-Fi Rush is available for $69.99, right? $70 flat out. It doesn't cannibalize their sales. It doesn't like they're not competing with themselves. They're not losing someone to a Game Pass subscription because they're selling Hi-Fi Rush. So for them, it's an extra avenue of people who aren't on Game Pass and they're not getting the best value in terms of the best way to procure Xbox games, which is Game Pass. If you think about it, like to get the premium level of Game Pass, I think is what, $30 Canadian? I just do the console version, which is 15. So let's even just say $15. You are now paying 4 months worth of Game Pass to play one Xbox exclusive on PlayStation, right? It's a revenue that Xbox doesn't have. It doesn't cannibalize. It doesn't make them lose a Game Pass subscriber, and someone who dips their toes is like looking like, do I want to play Hi-Fi Rush? Yeah, but maybe I'm not going to pay $60. Maybe that makes sense for me to go and get an Xbox, even an Xbox Series S, for that price, and get all the games that like I want. And maybe that becomes my third-party console along with the Xbox exclusives. So it's a way that they can get extra revenue without cannibalizing their own user base.
Yeah, I completely agree. I do think that's exactly kind of what their thinking is. I just agree.
Yeah, like I've seen some people be like, oh well, if this game shows up on PlayStation, like that, like I will never believe it. Like that's a huge L for Xbox. I'm like, guys, stop the console war bullshit. It's a win for everybody. Like if Hi-Fi Rush is on PlayStation, that's a win for PlayStation fans too. Like that's all that matters. It's a win for everybody. Stop.
Except Kaylan, who bought an Xbox to play Starfield.
Yeah. But now you've got the joys
But
of
you
Game
also didn't have
Pass.
to pay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
I paid
if you
a
play
lot of money to play
like a few
Starfield.
more games on that Xbox, it'll pay dividends now. I mean, if you only play Starfield on the Xbox, that's a you problem.
Oh, no, he played Arcade Player or Arcade
Paradise.
Yeah. Arcade
Well,
Player.
I think he's still
Arcade-
working his way towards covering that console price.
Yeah, you need to play a few more games. But I mean, at least now you've seen what you can get out of it. And not a lot of people, I think, went just to the Xbox for Starfield. I think that some did. But like, I know when I finally got an Xbox, I didn't have one for a long time. I didn't have any console for a long time. And the PS5, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get this. I want to be in the console lifestyle again. And it wasn't until after then Game Pass had its summer trailer of all this stuff happening and big changes with Game Pass that I was like, I need that subscription. Like, I know I have a huge backlog, but my issue is I spend so much money adding to it. I will spend less, and I do spend a lot less now. I know it doesn't seem like I don't buy a lot of games. It was ridiculous how much I was buying before because I constantly was like, this indie game, this other game. Now a lot of them end up on Game Pass, or I'm like, I can wait. That'll be on Game Pass. So I got an Xbox specifically for the subscription. And I want, even if a few of these games go to PlayStation, which I have, I'm not going to stop my Game Pass subscription just because I can buy Hi-Fi Rush there. I have a gaming PC, and Xbox puts all its first-party games on Steam on day one. It's a day release with the Xbox on Steam, and it's just extra revenue because they know people that have a gaming PC, either they're buying the game on Steam or they're going to get PC Game Pass. They'll get one of them. Whereas not a lot of people on PC are also buying an Xbox unless they just enjoy the couch experience or something like that. So they kind of know what they're doing. I think it's a smart move if they do some of these games. I think, like Adam, you said, it's a win-win. Like Hi-Fi Rush is an amazing game. No one was buying an Xbox just for Hi-Fi Rush anyways. If I had known that was going to be on Switch back before I had my Steam Deck, that's something I would have loved to have on there, and I would have absolutely bought it if it ran well and everything, let's just assume. But it's got a perfect Switch portable OLED screen feel, right? Like it's colorful and happy and fun and Saturday morning cartoon. So it being on multiple platforms helps. Like I think it doesn't cause Xbox to fail. I think it just kind of gets the word out that like, hey, Xbox that seems like they're struggling, hey everybody, try this stuff. It's not just for PC and Xbox. Here's some other Xbox studios that you should try. And you know what? If you really like it, there's a lot more over here on this console with the subscription. It's really great. Come try it out. Like I think it's just also going to spread the word more, if anything.
Yeah, and I think like if we go back to the very beginning, I think what's really gotten people's attention is the wording that Phil Spencer used. So the full quote that he put out on they want to call it X. I will forever call it Twitter. Fuck off, Elon. It says, we're listening and we hear you. We've been planning a business update for next week where we look forward to sharing more details with you about our vision for the future of Xbox. Stay tuned. There's two things that stand out to me. We've been planning a business event. That to me, my brain immediately goes, I don't believe you because I think you're more reacting to it's just gotten so out of hand with all these rumors that I think you realize you have to address it. I think it's your way of saving face and being like, actually, we've been meant to tell you guys for a while now. I'm like, I'm not believing that one. The other part is sharing our more details with our vision for the future of Xbox. And I think that's where everybody is immediately going into they're going third-party option because what does the vision for the future of Xbox mean when all that we see right now is all these rumors? So I think the problem is the language of that tweet made everybody just go with all the rumors that's been coming out and just immediately transposing that as in term with the rumors. I think if none of these rumors existed and this tweet comes out in a vacuum, I think we all go, oh, cool, they must be doing something new with the Xbox.
Yeah,
but because of all these rumors,
Xbox
everybody
Direct.
just immediately assumes it has to be the opposite of that.
Yeah, like I heard that there was another rumor. I don't know if it's like obviously true or not because it was just a rumor that they were already going to be having this business event at the end of February and they bumped it up to next week because of all the leaks. So I'm sure it is that they were going to have some sort of a little announcement
It could
or
also
maybe a
just be
digital
them going,
event.
yeah, screw, we can just push this sooner because we might as well capitalize on all the buzz we're getting all of a sudden.
Yeah, true. Like, yeah, they probably like maybe they're just going to release something. Maybe they're like, hey, let's put together a quick little thing and do this, make it more, I don't know, marketable. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
but
and again,
yeah.
because of all the rumors, like obviously I started my piece on this video about how I was so freaked out about it. And now at the same time, I'm like, it might honestly just be nothing. Like there's the flip flop between the two because like on one hand, this could be the worst case scenario that we're thinking of is that they're slowly opening the door to this being the last Xbox console ever. Who knows? Or this could just be we all overblew it as we always do on the internet. And it's literally just Hi-Fi Rush and the Gears of War collection or something like so completely nonchalant is just going to get thrown on PlayStation. We're all going to be like, oh, that was it? And we'll be like, oh, that's not so bad.
Yeah. I do agree the tweet is just like that's the wording you chose? Like why did you make it so it's like a husband tweeting his wife or sorry, message texting his wife and is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe I'm alive right now. I can't believe that
we're
even
listening
just
and
happened."
we hear you
Anyways, I'm
is
fine. I'll
like
see you tomorrow.
you're almost admitting like you're aware that everything that we're saying is true.
Yeah, like it's almost like, "Hey, I heard you heard the house is on fire." I don't know, maybe it is. We'll call it we'll talk next week. Like what? Like what the hell was that wording? Like it's just so like it could be huge, it could be nothing. And it's like I feel like he did it on purpose. I don't
Yeah,
know.
we'll certainly find out. I mean, we haven't been given a definitive date yet, so it might not be in time for next week's podcast. But I mean, whenever it happens, the next episode we have, we'll probably be talking about that in full. So we'll get to that as it comes. But like, I don't know. Like, unless you guys got anything else to add, I think it's honestly just a case of we don't really know what's happening. We're just hoping it's not the worst scenario, really. Because
We are missing
competition's
one.
kind of nice.
We're missing one really obvious thing. They're re-releasing Skyrim and they're doing a very PS5 version. They're making a PS5 upgraded Skyrim. That's it. That's
original
everything.
original 2011 version of Skyrim on PS5.
Oh, yeah,
I know
plastic
you well
edition.
enough, Chris. In actuality, they're going to announce a Xenogears remake just to really throw you off.
That wouldn't even make sense. That has nothing to do with Xbox. But I would happily welcome. I would die happy.
Well, I would happily welcome this ending so we can get in touch of what's going to be potentially happening next week. So we'll do that. So we'll end this side quest for the day, and hopefully we come to you with better news next week as we find out what this future of Xbox is going to look like. Hopefully it's nothing that special and it's just more things that make us go, cool. And that's it. But for now, that's going to do it for this episode. So obviously, as always here on YouTube, like the video, subscribe to the channel for more content. Wednesdays at noon is when you'll get the usual podcast. Fridays at 5 is when we have the side quest come out. And yeah, we'll see what happens when we record Tuesday night and hope to God that it's Xbox related material. Otherwise, I have no idea what we're going to talk about next week yet. But for that, that's a next week problem. Until then, bye-bye for now.